Hello, and welcome to another live demo on Automation Ladies. We are very excited to be here. Hope you are too. If you're joining us live, please come hang out in the comments and let us know who you are, where you're at. And yeah, I have some exciting news to share. If you are familiar with OT SCADACon, which is I think why some of us may be here, we have a demo from one of our sponsors today. We actually sold out today. Our goal of 100 tickets, we sold out. Yes, with 4 weeks roughly to go. We're very excited. And we also got a little sad because we have quite a few people kind of in our DMs that have been saying that they are wanting to buy a ticket. When's the last chance that they have to buy a ticket? And we've been like, well, we're almost sold out. And some of those people still didn't get a chance to get one. So we huddled together and we decided that we were able to open up a divider and make the training room a little bit bigger at our facility. And so we're going to add 25 more tickets. We'll go up to 125. We can't make this thing too big. We as organizers can't handle it, and we don't have the venues and things like that set up for way too many more people. But we are able to accommodate up to additionally possibly 25 more people. So if you're listening to this, you're excited to come, but you haven't got your ticket yet, you still have a chance, but don't wait too long, because based on the ticket sales the last couple weeks and, some of the people that we've heard from, we may still sell out the extra 25. I'm not going to be one of those fear mongers that's going to be like, oh my God, it's going to sell out tomorrow, so you have to buy your ticket today. I know it doesn't work like that, and we may not, get to the full 125, and that's okay. Our goal was 100, and we're very excited. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Also, we just discussed before we went live, the LinkedIn algorithm has had some major changes, which we all started noticing a few weeks ago. So I am not entirely sure if this, live stream is going to have the reach that we normally have, but I'm certainly hoping that some of you made it here. If you like this content, if you think the demo was interesting, please share it with your friends. And I guess I should start doing the content creator thing where people say, please like and subscribe our stuff, because apparently now the organic, just sort of community reach that we've had, we've never tried to do any SEO. We've never tried to tell people to do this. But the algorithm kind of not showing our content to the people that want to subscribe to the content, which are our followers. I assume if you follow us or you follow the show, you might want to see this. That is apparently not doing it anymore. And so I would love it if you are, a fan of the show, or if you like this demo, please, just click that. You can share the URL now or later, anytime after you watch it. Or if you watch this later, you like it, please share it with your friends, or subscribe to us. We do have a YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to YouTube. This gets streamed on YouTube as well. And we're starting to get a few people watching over there. And with all this LinkedIn algorithm changing, we may need to invest more into our YouTube channel. So maybe go ahead and subscribe to us over there if you have YouTube. Okay, so that's enough of me talking. We have Adam Cummick with us today from Synergy Logic, and we're very, very excited to see some new stuff that they have, and to give us a little intro of the company and intro the tech that we are going to be potentially seeing and talking about with them at OT SCADACon in a few weeks. If you know about OT SCADACon, if you attended before, you would know this. If you registered, hopefully you know this. But we don't allow any vendor demos. It's not a trade show. It's an educational connection networking conference. But we absolutely want our sponsors to be able to get the demos of their stuff in front of our audience. So we figured this would be a great way to do it. OT SCADACon attendees can see these demos, but so can also, greater other people in our community that may not be able to attend OT SCADACon because, variety of reasons, right? It's 3 days. It's in July. It's in Houston. You may have to fly in. We understand everyone can't do that. So love the fact that we can now, share this stuff through our platform. So welcome, Adam. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and thank you for bringing OT SCADACon together. It's such a cool event. I'm really excited to attend.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it last year. We're hoping we'll have a lot of fun with it again this year. But a lot of it is, it is our hard work, but it really is what the attendees make it, right? It's the community feel, the amount of sharing, connecting, cheering on and just general like community feel of those that attend that really make it. So hopefully we'll have that same experience this year with it being a little bit larger.
Oh, we've had even more time to plan the food.
Yeah.
And the things, all the things.
All the things.
I'm excited. I go to Texas. I get excited about the food when I go.
We're having barbecue. We're having tacos. We're having Cracker Barrel. We're having food trucks. We're all kinds of stuff. We're really excited. We're even doing
karaoke
in addition to the karaoke this year. We might need to have some waivers signed. I'm sure. I think the venue includes waivers for the axe throwing. But the point being that, it's not. We make connections at work and we make connections at trade shows, and we have these interactions where, hey, I have X and I have needs, but sometimes they don't align. And I think long-term connections that really pay off are often about just building the relationship, irregardless of whether or not you have a fit for my product today or vice versa, right? And getting to know people a little bit on a personal level, getting to hang out with them in a little bit more of a social setting can really help strengthen those bonds, which is why we decided not to make the after hours activities of the conference separate from the conference. Of course, nobody's forced to come. You don't have to come hang out with us, but it is included. There's no special invite. Only a few people from the show can come to the happy hour or whatever. It's everybody. And I guess we can do that because we are small enough that we can actually fit everybody into the same venue. So, hey, Allie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good to see you. I'm glad you managed to pop in before we got the demo started. So, Albert, yes, axe throwing. I just announced we sold out OT SCADACon and they're axe throwing this time. So, just to catch you up, TLDR. So, Adam, can you get us started with just tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what we'll be seeing today?
Yeah, definitely. So, Synergy Logic is a new company, and before I can really talk much about Synergy Logic, I really need to talk about fax engineering.
Yeah.
So you might be familiar with fax engineering. We've been around for 38 years. We're a really close automation partner with Automation Direct, designing a lot of their PLCs and other products.
Oh.
For over 38 years now, we've been cutting our teeth, developing all of this intellectual property, processes, products, and then really good personnel, because we have amazing tenure here. People have been here 15, 20 years. They know this stuff inside and out. So as we do all this, we've gotten so good at being a good partner with Automation Direct. We said, okay, what else can we do with this? What other markets can we explore? What other products can we explore? So out of that came Synergy Logic. So what we did is in our spare time, in between projects, we were like, okay, let's take some of the modules we have, see if we can add some more features to them, alter them a little bit to make them fit somewhere else and demonstrate what we can do. Because inside of fax, we have a ton of capabilities. We can design from the ground up, housings, PCBs, your firmware, whether you're running an RTOS like FreeRTOS or Linux, we have experts here that can help you get that. So when we're looking at this, we started with our SLM-MX, which we'll be demoing a bit with our super automated coffee machine. And from there, we can talk about some other things we have coming down the pipe.
Very cool. So what exactly is that? You mentioned a part number. What is it?
So here to go over, the SLM-MX is our Modbus expansion I/O. So we're in the industrial space. Everyone speaks Modbus. If you don't speak Modbus, even though it's not the greatest protocol anymore, you're not really an industrial automation product, at least to me.
Yeah.
Like it's just the basic language. So that's where we wanted to start with launching our products here. So here we have our little Modbus coupler, and then attached we have a couple I/O expansion modules. So these are all multi-density, and they will come in all the flavors of industrial I/O you can think. So syncing, sourcing, inputs, outputs, analog, thermocouples, anything that you'd expect to see on a like industrial automation or PLC type product, we will have available. And you can stack up to 8 of these. So you can get over 100 I/O points on this little Modbus expansion for a really great price. So that's the first one we wanted to start with there. So do you guys have any questions on that, or do you want to start hopping into the demo?
Yeah, good question. I'm going to let kind of with this stuff, Allie and Courtney lead the questions if you guys don't mind.
So you guys created this Like, I mean, it looks like I'm looking at a PLC.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's
Is
a lot
it-
of the same hardware. Like I said, we're a
It's like
PLC.
remote IO, right? It's just what
Yep.
it is.
It's remote IO.
Okay. And what PLC is being used?
So for the demo today, I'm just going to be using Pi Modbus. But
Ooh.
since Modbus, it's easy to connect to anything you want, whether it's CodeSys,
Okay.
software product, productivity, or even something like OpenPLC if you want to get into open source automation.
Cool. Okay.
So very flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
Lynn says, nice DIN rail desk setup. Yeah. Hey,
Thanks,
Lynn.
Lynn.
Lynn came to OT SCADACon last year. I hope she had a lot of fun. I think so. We had a lot of fun with her. So thanks for coming, Lynn.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a good time to hop into the software a bit.
Yeah.
So one thing we wanted to do is make this software really easy to use. Because I've hooked up Modbus devices, and it's always a pain of digging through manuals, trying to read the registers, figure out where everything goes. And then even beyond that, if you have something configurable, it's generally tough to use, at least in my experience. It's not intuitive. So we wanted to start from out of the box. You want to connect to something. You just hit scan for the devices. It'll check everything on your network. And you can see all of the SLM-MXs here. So right now, we're going to go to our coffee demo. And just in case you don't know the name of it off the bat, we have this little identify button here. So if you go and hit that, you can see we have this little red light blinking here. That way, if you have 3 or 4 of these in the building, you know this is the one I'm actually talking to. I'm not going to overwrite anything.
So they turn on with like a default IP address.
Yeah,
so like if I
DHCP
turned on 3 of them
box.
that all had the same address, I can decide which one I'm actually talking to.
Yeah, so there'll be DHCP out of the box, but we do have a fallback address in case you
Okay.
don't have a DHCP server on your network. So it should be pretty easy to find these guys. You won't be having to hook it up on a separate NIC or use some strange USB interface. So onto the software here. So we got coffee demo I went ahead and named earlier. So we hit connect here, and we can see a readout right here of all the modules in the base. So these are automatically populated. So it goes out and reads there, and you can go through each of these items, check some of the settings. So maybe I need to edit the IP config here, have all these options in addition to how you'd want your outputs to behave in a case where you time out. So maybe someone cut an Ethernet cord in half, or the power got pulled from your remote IO. You want to have a little bit of control on how that behaves when it shuts down. And then going into our modules, you can see we have all the settings here. So here we have a thermocouple module. So on each channel, you can configure it to whatever type of thermocouple you want, or if you just need a fine millivolt range for some measurement, we got that here. And you can do it channel to channel. And once you have all your settings set here, you just go ahead and hit the configure button in the corner, and it writes the configuration out to the device. From there, you're pretty much good to go. But you don't know where anything is. We're still in Modbus land. So we'll go over this Modbus register map tab. And you can see here we have each of the devices. We have the slot number it's in. So if we're looking over back here, you can see our red guy here in slot 1 and the blue one in slot 2. And I don't know if it's a little hard to see over the stream here, but we'll have the type of register it is for each of these, the addresses for all the Modbus per channel, in addition to any status data you would have on a module. So if you have a thermocouple, you might be worrying about your burnout bits, something like that to show for error. Really easy to find. And once you get everything set, another thing we thought about is what if you're deploying remote IO in a kind of a copy-paste fashion, you know? You have 8 drops of this. It's all kind of the same setup. It's a pain if you wanted to go in and redo this by hand every time. So we had a nice little feature where you can just export the configuration file. And then if you want to come back in, hit your demo. Obviously, these are the same settings. So if we wanted to alter it here, just to show overriding it. There we go. Back to what we were. And then you just need to go in and change your IP address, which you'll set to whatever you need to there. But it should be nice and easy off of that point. So with that, the only other thing I guess I'd want to show here, it's not part of the demo, but let's say you don't have your hardware in, you're not going to have this automatically signed on, or you're planning it out. If you wanted to, you can also create an offline configuration so you can get this planned, and maybe you need to build out your BOM, you just want to get your IO count. So you can start going in here and adding in all these modules and slots. That way, when you get your actual hardware in, you can already know where it is.
And do you have one of every type of IO card?
We have about anything you could think of in here.
Okay. So you got analog in and out. And can you do like, obviously you can do 4 to 20. Can you do like 0 to 10 volt?
Yep. So we have 0 to 10, 4 to 20. I think we might have a bipolar as well on the voltage inputs. Syncing, sourcing,
cool.
out, relays, isolated and non-isolated relays. And again, one of the best things about Synergy Logic and Fax Engineering is everything we do is in-house. We own all the IP. We are the developers. So if you come to us and say, hey, I really like this module, but it's not quite right. I need a 0 to 11 volt output for whatever reason, or some other strange feature, some request, come to us, work with us. We'll talk to you, we'll figure out if we can do something to get you a solution. Because
and I bet you got good pricing too.
We have great pricing. I can't release pricing yet today, but we are.
That's okay, but I can imagine that you can be competitive, especially if you're working with like Automation Direct.
Yeah, exactly. They really push us to have really affordable products that are still a fantastic value, because all this stuff is it's still CE marked. It's tested the same standard as anything else we make.
I'm impressed.
So now that you're impressed, I guess we should move on to the demo. So for this, I just threw together a little Python script here. To be honest, I cheated and used a little bit of AI to write it, but hey, it's 2025.
Hey, is that cheating these days, or is
No.
that like
That's actually
that's the right thing to
considered
do? Because
That's competitive advantage these days. That's not cheating at all.
exactly.
Yeah. But in the case of just, I wanted to get something up and running quick. I did this all yesterday. So I was like, okay, how fast?
Procrastinator.
And man, Cursor did a great job of helping me out here. So
Very cool.
Fabulous.
just go ahead and get running off of this. So
I like to do things last minute myself.
I mean, that's how the real world works. You want to predict all your problems, but something's going to come up, and it's a good way to test that what we made actually works how we want it to work. Because it's really easy at your desk when you're designing these things to say it's great, it's so easy to do this and this and this. But then when you hit a real problem, how can you use this tool we designed to solve it? So it's fun to flex our own products that way. We use all of our own stuff internally for testing in different spots. So we get a lot of hands on our time ourselves. So we can always keep moving forward and improving. But on to our lovely demo here. So I can hit play on this script, but we really just want to get over to our coffee pot. So what I've designed is our automated coffee machine. Basically, we had an issue where one of our engineers would leave the coffee pot on overnight after hours.
Ooh, burnt coffee.
Yeah, it is acrid, it is disgusting, and it can fill up the whole building real fast if you're not careful. So
one of the early good tips I got from my dad was about gas station coffee. He said, run if it's on a hot plate like that. If it's in an insulated like dispenser, you're good because they're just keeping it warm.
Yep.
But inevitably that gas station has not like let that coffee's been sitting there too long and it's burnt and disgusting. And he was so right. And I know that's not engineering related, but my dad being an engineer, and I don't know, I haven't met very many engineers that don't run on coffee.
Coffee is highly related.
So I think it is
related. Engineering. I think it is engineering related because like coffee roasting, like that smell and like burning it is like the Maillard reaction is what it's called.
Also now every time I grind up my Pete's beans, I just think about
I
how
love
Allie
Pete's.
helped roast those beans, or you did the controls for those roasters. So yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
I used to work for Probat, and Probat does, Pete's and a lot of other companies. Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we went to a specialty coffee roasting trade show recently here in Houston. And we are working on trying to get a local roaster to provide the coffee for OT SCADACon. I probably shouldn't have said that because we haven't 100% lined it up yet. Last year we had to go with Starbucks, but we do have a what to say, the will to serve very high quality coffee in addition to all of our other energy drinks and things, which is why we have a energy
Our
break.
industry runs on that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if anybody is coming to OT
Unpopular reason
SCADACon
to have this
and you
coffee
have a
machine
favorite energy drink that you run on and that you can't imagine being at a conference for 3 days without that, ping us. We will make sure it's in the fridge. Okay, back to you.
So our coffee demo, not powered by Pete's, but powered by water today, because I would be making way too much coffee. I would be over caffeinated if I'm actually running beans through this thing. But our simple setup, just to make sure the coffee machine is not on too long, we have our thermocouple on the side of the machine here, measuring the heater temperature. So we'll turn on the machine, make sure it gets up to the appropriate temperature. We'll start pumping in our water. And as that brews and heats, we have another thermocouple on the coffee pot to make sure the brew is done. And then once it is, and it's up to temp, it'll turn the coffee machine off, it'll turn the pump off, and the Joe is ready to go. So let's go ahead and hit start on this and hope it actually works. So if we go over to the MX, you can see we have a couple lights on. So those are our visual indicators on the modules, just so the channels are reading there. I can hear the pump going. So the water is a little hard to see behind that, but we got it flowing.
Oh yeah, I see it.
I see it.
So now we're starting to get into there. If I go back over to my script here, down here I have the live temperature readings on everything. Scrolling on by. And this is our lovely Synergy Logic branded coffee maker. Totally not the JPEG.
Well placed.
Yeah.
If it gets too cold,
thought
can
it
you
was
bring it back up to temp with the heater?
That would be good. Unfortunately, I am not a coffee integrator, so I don't have all these ideas. No,
I would just add that. That'll be part of your code because you can control the other heater, right? The one on the bottom.
Be able to.
So you could just, watch the temperature come down. And if it got maybe too low, you'd be like, well, I got to heat this up a little bit. But at the same time, like what Nikki was saying, like you can only do that so many times before it's gross. So you should still have like a stack light or something that says like, hey, you got to switch this out because like we already reheated it like 3 times and like now it's nasty. So, but you could reheat it a couple times without burning it. But yeah, no, I love it.
So back to here, we've reached our temperature, if it's visible behind my name there. And that is the entirety of the demo. So at the end of the day, it is remote IO. It doesn't have a ton of brains behind it.
Yeah.
But our key care about here is just making it as easy to use as possible. And everything we can do in that software. And if there's ever a feature you're like, man, I really like this. I wish I could do. So one thing actually that came up later on is we added a feature to export all of your registers to a CSV. So maybe you're doing that for some sort of documentation, or you just want to reference later on when you have a document with other links in there. So you can go in and you can just check out the width. So you can see the type of register, everything, what module it's in, slots, etc. So this is nice if maybe you're doing some automation, maybe you have some copy paste with some variation, you could script into doing some of these configs.
Cool.
Nice. Do you have any like web-based like screens that you could show? Or have you thought about, creating that just because like, with all the scripting you're doing, like that shouldn't be too hard for you to build something that, but it would have to be connected to a laptop. That way you're not building, because I'm not saying like you should be building HMIs when all you build is like remote IO, but
Are there like software development kits that help us do that you guys offer, or
to connect to the SLM-MX IO?
yeah, to connect to it easily with, say, my own HMI.
I mean, it's all Modbus, so anything that supports Modbus should work out of the box. We don't do any special things there. The only crazy tweak we might have is on our thermocouple module. If you've ever worked with floats in PLCs, it can be a little bit of a pain with Modbus. So we gave an option to, in our configuration, if you would prefer to have, I can connect and show you. Back to the software. Nice. So we go back to our copy demo here. You can see we have an option on float behavior. So I have it for integer and decimal right here because Python is a little annoying to convert into floats from raw bytes. But if I wanted, I could go right back to the IEEE 754 float style, which is common if you're writing in C, or many PLCs will support it as well.
Okay.
Right on.
Very cool. So where do people buy these? And how, if somebody wants to buy one to try or use them, where should people go? Where can they get them?
So we'll be launching the SLM-MX and IO the first week of September.
Oh, all
so
right.
It'll be available on the freshly launched Synergy Logic store.
Nice.
And we're evaluating some other avenues as well. We're looking to get these on Amazon, DigiKey, and anywhere else that we can find a good place for these.
Nice. Just make it easy for engineers to be able to check it out, order one.
Right.
Yeah. What about
Get
training?
right
Do you have like YouTube videos, or like how do you train people? Obviously, it's really easy to use, but is there, materials like how, if someone wants to learn as fast as possible to like set this stuff up, like what do you got for like learning materials?
So we'll be releasing some videos of demoing the software similar to I did today. Just that quick start. How do I get up and running with this from the ground up?
It should just be you. It should just be you talking like on these videos. Like that'll be enough. That's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And all these online platforms now, they want the content to go with the products. Right?
Yep.
So you just make the videos and they'll go on the same, like on the product website of wherever you're going to be selling them, including your own, I'm sure.
And they want videos. They don't want manuals. Like we've all known how to read manuals and like they work, but yeah, you just clicking on stuff, like that's just so much better. It just helps.
Yeah. We'll definitely have that stuff. Our goal is to get them integrated with some other platforms as well. We'll be releasing example projects. So if you want to hook this up to OpenPLC, Pi Modbus, anything like that, we'll have a quick demo so you can download that, test that against your setup, and get you running that way too. Because we want to make it as easy and quick to take this out of your box and get running with it. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to see something turn on and off. You want to move things. You want to start automating.
Where are you?
We are in Newport Richey, Florida. So it's a little west of Tampa, if you're familiar with Tampa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
There.
Nice.
So yeah,
beautiful.
This is
and how many people are in your company?
So Max Engineering has about 60 people.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Between our engineering department, our operations department, and our production staff.
So really, people should know you for Synergy Logic being the brand of the products that you guys are releasing on your own. But otherwise, you really are a full engineering development house partner to other companies, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the big things we actually want to get to with Synergy Logic. So we're here demoing these products that we've made. But a big opportunity we want to pursue is working with OEMs who have these industrial product needs, but maybe they don't need a PLC, or maybe they need something that's not quite an off-the-shelf PLC, but has that I/O. Maybe they need 6 relays and 8 thermocouples, whatever it is. Since we have all this IP developed in-house, we have all the capabilities to test it and develop it here as well. We can get them a really cost-effective solution for whatever their challenge is and make sure it's exactly tailored to their needs and it's really high quality. And we want to make it easy for them too.
Yeah, sounds like a great partner that everyone should know of. I know I don't know of too any
Especially for
companies
affordability.
like that, other than like my dad, but he's not a 60-person company, but he does that for companies because he again has been developing his own like kind of embedded controls for a really long time. And then once you've built up all those libraries and all that expertise, then it's really just about kind of swapping out the different components that people need. And sometimes you really don't need everything that would come on a standard controller, right? And you can tailor it to exactly what you need. You don't have overkill in there.
Yeah, and we
It
can
makes
work.
a lot of sense for certain applications.
We can work really quickly. One OEM that is in the specialty HVAC space, let's say, approached us for a controller for one of their things. They were looking at PLCs, but they were just way out of their budget for what they needed. It was just a few I/O points. But at the same time, their HVAC solutions weren't working because HVAC typically works on a scan time, if we want to use PLC words, of a second or two. But they needed millisecond response times. So they were able to come to us, give us their rough spec, and I think in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, we delivered them a working prototype of that board.
Nice.
So that's a fresh board design,
Yeah.
sample firmware, everything for them. And that's just
How
because
did you get into your position? How did you find this company?
So I went to University of Central Florida, UCF, go Knights. I graduated in 2016, and I was just throwing out resumes to anyone that might want to hire me. And I got lucky enough to land an interview here, and been here almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in January.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, so first job out of college, first engineering job.
10 years is huge these days. So
Yeah.
that means company culture is good enough, like, for you to stay for 10 years. That's
Like
legit.
We have an insane amount of tenure. We do anniversary celebrations here for your 5, 10, 15, 20. I think we've had to go up to a 35-year anniversary maybe now.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're 38 years of the company.
Yeah,
That's really good.
Yeah, the first few employees still work here.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
That
We've been
speaks
meeting.
volumes.
I've been meeting a few, it's just like here and there, but meeting these companies that have really been around for that long, and you've got, just, may not have marketed very much either, because a lot of these are just long held relationships and word of mouth and things like that. But that's really impressive. That's great to hear.
yeah.
Sounds like some great people to work with. And we met briefly at Automate. It was great to get to hang out with your team a little bit. And so very much looking forward to spending 3 days with you guys at OT SkaterCon, and for everybody that is managing to come in person to get to know you guys as well. Because especially with like a development partner like that, it doesn't, you can find somebody online, but you really want to know like the people behind that. It's not just about the technology. It's about those relationships and knowing that what you're going to get when you approach those people with a need, right? Or
They got Florida mans.
yeah. All right, we got a couple. Hey, Vince, thank you for joining us. This was actually a very brief demo because it's a fairly simple product, Remote IO, Modbus Remote IO. So feel free to jump back once we're done and check out the actual, demo piece. It was probably between minute, 10 and 20 of this. And I think, we'll wrap up a little early today, which is fine because sometimes the message is real straightforward and the product is pretty straightforward. And I think in this case, the product itself is a very, very small piece of the pie of what we're learning about fax engineering and synergy logic. So again, more about the team, the technology, the capability, and establishing these relationships with these guys rather than specifically whether you need a Modbus IO module today or in September, right? But yeah.
If I didn't want to do Modbus, could I get you guys to do Ethernet?
What kind of Ethernet?
I guess, I don't know, Ethernet IP.
Yeah, we should be able to do that.
So if they came to you, you could design that, because like you guys are very flexible and can design based off, because right now it makes sense that you built this on Modbus and that's what you're coming out with. But if we came to you and said, I want, to try to make something affordable with Ethernet IP, like you think you guys could like, come up with that? What kind of time frame do you think you could, create that?
I mean, everything's a conversation, especially when you get into details here. But if it's just getting Ethernet IP on there and we can find a reasonable stack or some sort of technology to help integrate that, then I don't see why it couldn't come out. I mean, 6 months, a year. It's hard to say exactly because it'll all come down.
That's not
to
bad. That's not bad. Cool.
So you guys really serve like
Thank you.
OEMs who have their own product and they know their own product, but let's say they want to provide a solution and they don't want to, like you were saying earlier, they don't want to develop a PLC. Maybe they don't want to buy one and put it in there, but they want to have maybe a full solution around their product, whether it's a robot, a camera, whatever, but they have some other, stuff that they want to tie in. That's kind of sounds like the ideal customer for that.
Absolutely. Or maybe maybe they do design themselves, but there's a piece of this design that's just too small scope for them to want to take on, or they're too busy, strapped for resources. Reach out to us. We can try and fill in the gaps there. We can help you out however you need to be helped.
Very cool. All right. Well, I
Thank
think
you.
that's it. Where do you want people to go so that they are aware when you guys really do release, when all this information comes out? Like, do you have a mailing list on your website, or where should people be if they're intrigued by this and they want to get in touch with you guys? Where should they go? Other than OT SCADACon.
Well, that's the best place to meet us for sure.
Yeah.
But if you want the second best place, synergy-logic.com. Also keep an eye on LinkedIn on our socials there, so you can keep day-to-day posts, and we'll keep sharing what we have.
All right, sounds good. And if you stick around our community around OT SCADACon stuff, or automation ladies, we'll probably, if you guys manage to tag us when you release new material, or get some information out there that you want our audience to know as well, we'll make sure to share that. And it should be relatively easy to find. The other thing is, you should have filled out. You'll have a guest profile on automationladies.io. And there is the opportunity for to put links in there, and we can edit that anytime later. So as you guys release new material or have, any new websites or socials that people should know about, we can go ahead and update your profile on our website as well.
Awesome.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. It's Thursday afternoon, almost the weekend, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And go ahead and connect with and follow Adam. Their team is really great, and they're going to want to be in touch with you, whether you have something interesting to work on right now or not. I think this is a great group to have in your arsenal for future projects, or you never know what's going to come down the line. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.